Hello, we're back. So Sarah's come back, and so what we want to talk about is the hormonal impact of your body composition. So Sarah deals as a naturopath with a lot of hormonal issues, PCOS, infertility, PMS, all of that. And isn't that so funny that it's all like through our nutrition and everything like that?
Yeah, definitely.
So what is that hormonal impact of having an obese body composition?
Yeah, sure. So it comes down to a few different hormones, okay? So I mean, I might just try and briefly explain things, but I don't want to take up too much time. But when it comes to our body composition and our hormone, our eating styles, all of these different things, estrogen, leptin and ghrelin, which regulate our appetite.
Yes.
Then there's insulin.
Yeah. So now give us a label. So leptin.
Yeah. So leptin helps to signal that we're full, basically.
And ghrelin?
And ghrelin makes us eat more. So it's more of an appetite, not stimulant, but it signals to eat.
Okay, so I'm going to label ghrelin like gremlin. Give me food now. And leptin like, leave it alone, push that plate away. Yeah, okay, so leptin, ghrelin.
Yeah, that's cool. So often what happens is when people have a higher body fat percentage, they can actually have what's called leptin resistance.
Oh.
So they might have a lot of leptin like swimming around, and so you'd think that they would want to eat less and then the appetite would be lowered.
Yeah.
But what actually happens is it's like the receptors are sort of cut or reduced. So your body isn't receiving that signal.
Okay, so the gremlins or the ghrelin is like telling the leptin, no, we need to eat more.
Yeah, so what often happens too is that when people have that high carbohydrate diet, then you have high insulin levels that control that blood sugar from the carbohydrates.
Yeah.
And when you have high insulin, then that interferes with those other hormones that help to regulate and use fat.
Regulate appetite. Wow. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
And then there's the other story that relates to obviously the sex-related hormones. So fat cells release estrogen. It's like a lot of women, they will have sort of like the estrogen dominance, and I'm sure a lot of people have heard that term used, but often
so what does it actually mean? Like estrogen dominance? Yeah, so what's actually happening chemically?
Yeah, so it's basically, it comes back more to a ratio. So often estrogen and progesterone, they sort of have to be different levels at different times of your cycle. So when we're the first part of our cycle, when the female, wants to produce that egg and ovulate, we're going to have higher amounts of estrogen. But then in the second part of our cycle, when we might be pregnant, then the progesterone has to maintain that pregnancy. But what often happens,
the lining of the uterus.
That's right, exactly, nourish it. But often what happens is women struggle so much with fertility that they don't have enough of that progesterone to actually sustain or create a pregnancy. So a lot of cases of infertility or miscarriage can occur in those states, as well as mental health conditions. Like a lot of anxiety and everything as well, and mood disorders.
Right. So that's a lowered amount of progesterone.
Yeah, often. Yeah, because
or just too much estrogen cycling around the system.
So it can be different. So high estrogen can cause a really high anxiety state. Right. But then in that second part of the cycle, when there's meant to be higher progesterone to make us more relaxed, if we have by default this higher amount of estrogen, then that can interfere, but estrogen is still low. It's sort of a bit complex. And it relates back to neurotransmitters, our serotonin and dopamine and GABA, which helps us relax. So it's sort of a big topic, but basically...
It's like this big web, and there's loads of variables that are coming into this web and this one topic. So, oh God, we could talk about that for ages, couldn't we? So the chemical pathways, so say you are metabolically obese, maybe you're not 100 kilos plus or anything like that, but you're, say, a small frame, but you're holding too much adipose tissue, and that makes you... in your body composition scanning, in your body composition obese. So say this woman or man has a because men can be estrogen dominant too. Did you know, guys?
So that is a big problem.
So that picture. What are the contributing factors, nutrition-wise, to contribute to that over estrogenic picture or obese, metabolically obese picture? So
the
nutrition factors.
Obviously there are foods. So animal products actually contain really high levels of hormones
that
are like bioidentical to ours. So high amounts of estrogen in dairy and in meat. So that is a big factor, trying to minimize that. I mean, I still have a bit of meat, chicken, grass-fed, organic style. I don't have dairy because of a lot of those reasons in relation to the hormone influence and everything.
And what I've found in my journey with dairy is that just causes me all sorts of stomach pain, bloating, gassy, sharp stabbing pains. Anyway, we don't want to go on what happens later in that story, but anyway, so the dairy
and animal products
animal products with more estrogen.
Yeah, well, they're just higher amounts, I guess.
Higher amounts.
So than plant food. So there are then the plant estrogens, but they sort of help to regulate things a little bit more, so they're not so much of a problem. But then obviously there's the carbohydrate load. So a lot of people, they eat way too many carbs for what they actually require because carbohydrate is more of an active fuel. We need carbohydrate when we're in that state where we're doing high intensity movement. But otherwise our body can or should be able to use fat as more of a fuel. But what often happens is when people are overweight, then it interferes with their liver function, and this interferes with their ability to sustain their blood sugar levels with the breakdown of glycogen into glucose.
Because our liver's our transformation organ, which will break down glycogen into glucose and release it to our system.
And so then what happens then is you have people that are in a stage where they always feel hungry, they always want to eat because of this hormonal imbalance. Because their body isn't used to fasting, it's just used to high levels of glucose, that sugar from carbohydrates all the time.
And you have that crash and that sort of that
and then
high
that's the
and low.
insulin and the cortisol, and so it goes up and down. And then you store that fat from that excess amount of food and carbs. So it's a very complex story, but really it's simple application.
So what should that woman or man do that has that estrogen dominance?
So definitely you need to focus on changing that body composition. So reducing your body fat percentage and increasing your muscle mass, because that will help with that.
And so how would they, what would be the first factor that they would pick up and try as a tool?
Definitely fasting.
Definitely fasting,
definitely fasting.
And what sort of fasting would you recommend? So
for the general public who might want to not do longer fasts, you could just do more of the intermittent style fasting. So that's sort of like 16 to 20 hours of fasting per day, and then you eat in that 8 to 4 hours period. So a lot of people that I've worked with, they don't necessarily like it, and they might struggle initially. They're like, no, I can't eat all day and night. And that, I get that. I mean, I don't do that every day. You can do it for a period and then sort of relax a bit more and then apply a little bit more again. But at the end of the day,
how many days would you suggest that
until you reach
your
goal? Well, look, I mean, you can probably have Sundays that are shorter and the Sundays that are longer. So for example, one day you might eat within a 12-hour period and then fast for 12 hours. And then the next day you might push it a bit longer and fast for 16 hours and then eat in 8 hours. You know what I mean? And then another day you might try and do a 24-hour fast. And then go back to the 12 hours or whatever again. So you can cycle it over 3 days? Or and it does depend. It depends on activity level too. And this is where it's hard to make recommendations on a video, because everyone is so individual with their requirements and activity level.
And that's what I love about it. It's just, it's never cookie cutter, is it? There's really so many people who come in with such different lifestyle factors. There is that normalized picture nowadays of the office worker 9 to 5er. But then there's so many other variables like genetically, how you hold your adipose tissue genetically, body types, apple, pear, all those different things. Exactly. So no person is going to respond the same to each nutrition thing. So that's why I would personally just recommend having someone guiding you with nutrition, not just going on an Instagram and following someone that has pretty pictures on an Instagram profile, but someone that actually is, like Sarah, registered. She is a second generation naturopath as well. So there's been a lifetime's learning, from your father, a lifetime's learning about naturopathy, or naturopathy. I don't know. How do you say it?
I say it like that.
Naturopathy, yeah. So, Sarah is deeply grounded in that knowledge. So there's some people that might know something, but I really feel that Sarah's got an innate knowing from being immersed in this her whole life. So anyway, so yeah. What else do we need? What else do we need to say, Sarah?
Yeah, so just like I said, I guess in our previous video, just ensuring that people understand their body composition. So not feeling like it's for the athletes or for other people, like it's for everyone. And I feel like understanding that where your body is at is going to be the greatest focus for you.
Yeah.
Because it relates to, like I said, all of those hormonal reasons and all elements of health.
Yeah.
You're looking, like we sort of touched on before, in relation to what your bone density means.
Yeah.
What does that mean in relation to your lifestyle? What does your muscle mass mean for what you're doing and what you should be doing?
Yeah.
And the same for your fat. So, being aware of that and not just going off of the scales or even just measurements, because it doesn't tell you.
It doesn't tell you, does it?
Yeah.
You can measure till your cows come home, but you're not going to know if that measurement is relating to how much muscle you've got on that limb, or if that limb is made up of a tiny bit of muscle, a massive bit of fat, or if it's made up of a massive bit of muscle with a tiny bit of fat. That measurement is going to change.
And that's why you get so many of my clients, Rita.
Oh,
because I'm always referring people down to give them that clearer picture.
Yeah.
Because it helps them, even the fertility clients, the mental health clients, when you understand that, and it's a very easy way to do it.
Yeah. And I just think visceral fat is so high on that picture of fertility and mental health, isn't it?
Definitely.
Like if you have so much of that toxic fat sitting around your organs, your body's not going to love itself, no matter what you try and think or try to eat your way out of.
Exactly.
If that visceral fat is just lurking around in there, then and you don't even know. Anyway. Come get a scan. This isn't real. I'm not really here to plug about scanning or anything, but thank you. But thank you, Sarah. I can help you with that, definitely. I also love helping people just energetically. I just love helping people with everything to do with health. So thank you so much, Sarah, for sharing the joy of that.
Because that was nice talking.
Uplift
to each other.
So anyway, you can book in with Sarah. And where do you find Sarah?
So bouncingsoul.com.au is my website, or Bouncing Soul on Facebook.
Yeah.
That's what I generally use.
Yeah. So go and see this girl. She knows a lot, more than she lets on. Yeah. Anyway, love you. And thank you.